Hello, I'm Toycat, and trying to get every single pet, even the exotic ones, is a great goal, except for the money, the space, and the license requirements, and so instead you'd be better off trying to do that in Minecraft. Here is your ultimate guide on how to get every single pet in the game, whether you're looking for just a single one or every single one. Here is your guide on the animals, whether they're tamed, whether they're trusted, or whether they're the weird category of in between. There is even a little blue guy in there that you've got to collect, but here's how you get all of them, because there are many ways to tame mobs, and the wolves are the easiest and classic example. They were the first pet added to Minecraft, and you just walk up to them in the wild, they don't care about you, you give them between 1 and a dozen bones, and all of a sudden, you've got a pet. This pet will now follow you around, loosely, and if he gets too far away from you, then he'll teleport to catch up. This is very, very handy, and will not work in oceans, keep that in mind, but you can also sit him down in one place, which is wonderful, and it's what I've done for all of the wolf variants, because there are a bunch of them in Minecraft now. The pale wolf is found in the tiger biome, which if you can't picture, I'll have an image. I'll do that on screen for all of these just to help you out. This is the default wolf, if you will, but it's not the only wolf in the game, because we also have the spotted wolf, which I quite like. We have the rusty wolf, which I really like. I think the woods wolf, you don't have to be imaginative to imagine where he comes from, but just in case, here you go anyway, is really nice. So is the snowy wolf. We've also got the ashen wolf. The black wolf is one of the rarest in the game. Keep that in mind if you want to get your hands on him. Then we've got the chestnut wolf, and finally the striped wolf, which is very divisive in terms of whether people love or hate him, but you'll find him in the wooded, badlands, or mesa biome. This is the first category of mob, and because it was the first one added, it's the simplest, whereas the second one has a little bit more complexity added. So this is the cat. The cat in Minecraft can be tamed, not with one item like with the wolves, but instead with 2. However, cats are very skittish and will run away from you if you move too fast, if you move uncrouched, or if you move your camera around too quickly even. They are a very, very skittish animal, and so there are 2 ways to tame them. One is to play it the official way and to wait around a village where they spawn naturally, wait for one to come very close to you with raw salmon or raw cod in hand, and then feed them from there. Or there's the second method, which if I'm being honest, about half of Minecraft players, myself included too, and that is to run after animals with your raw cod and say, I'm going to feed you, and then desperately just spam your use button on the animal until eventually he loves you anyway. This is a very valid strategy, it totally works, and fun fact, if you feed them again, you'll be able to breed another animal. However, cats are unique in that the best way to get more of them isn't necessarily to breed, as cute as it is to get kittens this way, but instead the way they spawn naturally, and so the way to find more of them, is to go to a village. The cats that do spawn initially in a village will not despawn, and that is a very useful fact to know, because as villagers come into a village, as they come and go, cats just kind of accidentally come with them, reflecting how in society cats effectively domesticated themselves. It's very cute, but what they also reflect in society is all of the different breeds of cats. We've got Persian cats, red cats, tuxedo cats, the British short-hair cat, the Siamese cat, the tabby cat, although I don't really think it looks that much like a tabby. I love tabby cats in real life, and it's not my favorite personally. We've got the jelly cat, the white cat, the calico cat, and the ragdoll cat. Interestingly enough, the jelly cat is called that, not because it's a real breed of cat, but because of it was a YouTuber, Good Time with Scar. He won a competition to have his cat added to Minecraft, and so if you look at any of these other mobs in Minecraft, which currently don't have variants, maybe one day if you have a Ocelot of your own, maybe he'll be added to Minecraft, but we'll talk about that after we talk about the only rare cat, which just like the wolf is the black variant. Obviously there are rarer and less rare wolf variants depending on which biome you go to, but the black cat is interesting because it will only spawn during a full moon in a village. This is beyond fascinating if you ask me, but yeah, that means that if you want to get black cats, you can wait for that, or the other way, if you are so inclined, is to go to a witch hut, which spawns in a swamp, and the witch hut will always spawn with a single black cat. So this is a black cat spawning with the witch, because in real life, I mean, in real life mythology, I guess, witches have black cats. Actually, there might be witches in real life, they might have black cats. Who am I to judge you or your beliefs? Just like how I'm not here to judge how foxes work, because Mojang decided when adding foxes, at the same time as splitting out cats from ocelots, Mojang decided when added foxes not to make them a pet, because in the real world, we haven't domesticated foxes. We can keep them as pets, but they're kind of wild animals at the same time. So you can find foxes in either taiga, old growth taiga, and old growth spruce taiga, if you want the classic orange fox, fox, or if you want the rarest snowy fox, you find them in the groves and the snowy tigers, and these animals are scared of you by default. To show you that, let's spawn a couple in, and let's show you how, yeah, they are very, very terrified unless I have food. They just kind of want to run away from me because they're wild animals. But if we were to breed them, which we can do like any other animal, we'll give them both a glowberry. They're going to have this a very fun time trying to actually breed. If we do breed them, their offspring, if it grows up around us, which this one will, their offspring will then trust you. So the offspring isn't terrified of me like the adult is. And fun fact, like with most mobs in Minecraft, if you feed them the food which they go into love mode with, if you feed them enough of that food, you'll eventually be able to grow them into an adult, you know, make them big and healthy and fat, I guess. But then this adult version of the fox will also trust me. So he's not running away from me like these other guys will. However, he also won't follow me. He just trusts me. He doesn't hate me, but he doesn't love me. And so I guess Minecraft added indifference to foxes as much as you could say they added trust. But yeah, you can use glowberries or sweet berries and then they'll trust you forever, which means that you still have to keep them enclosed, but then they will be less unfriendly about it. Which is, again, to me, that falls into the weird category between like being a pet and being a enclosed animal, but that's up to you to decide. Next up, we have the Ocelot, and so Ocelots are something I am an expert on. I mean, no flex here, but I happen to be one myself in Minecraft, and so an interesting fact is if you want a Ocelot to trust you, because they can't be tamed, they can only be trusted, if you want them to trust you, you've got to make sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel. They're doing an Ultimate Guide series. This is the first episode off, so they really appreciate the support, or you can give them a lobster roll or something. But the important thing is if you do give them the exact same things that cats love, raw cod and raw salmon, then they will become trusted animals, and they will just, again, same with the foxes, they won't hate you, but they won't love you. Ocelots used to give you cats, but they recently, I guess, by recently I mean 5 years ago, they split them up into 2 different animals, and if you're also a Minecraft boomer, you'll understand that too. Speaking of things you'll understand, both the ocelots and the parrots spawn in the jungle biome, and so if you know what cats do to, especially very dangerous wild animals in real life, do to birds, you'll know how poorly that will go if you try to keep these 2 animals around. But yeah, if you ever want to get your hands on a parrot, all you've got to do is feed them any one of these seeds. So here are 6 different varieties. It used to be just 1, but obviously as Minecraft adds more seeds, they also add all of these. So I'll just I'll replace all of these with something as simple as the torchflower seeds, one of the rarest seeds I wouldn't recommend using, but also some regular seeds, and I'll show you how if a parrot spawns in, I can give him some of these and he will be tamed. The hearts will come across, and so these are kind of not quite trust, not quite tamed, because now that he's tamed, he'll just kind of sit there. I can force him to actually sit there by, it goes into loaf mode, I guess you could say, and if he's in standing up mode and I walk over towards him, then he'll go onto my shoulder. This is very cute by itself. It gets even cuter, but first, there are 5 variants of the parrot. There is the blue parrot and the red parrot. This is one of my favorites. There's the white parrot, the green parrot, and the blue parrot. They're all just around the place and they spawn how they are. Make sure that whatever you do, by the way, you don't feed them cookies. I'm sorry to do this just to prove a point. If you know when people say cookies are poisonous to parrots, it's not just like a bit. It's literally they give the parrots the poison stats effect, and don't question what happens after you do that. It's not very fun for anyone involved. But yeah, fun fact by the way, every animal that you tame will actually tell you when it dies in the game chat to let you know that you've lost a pet, and that's one of the big things that defines a pet in my opinion. Next up here, we've got the jukebox by the way. If you put a disc in here, I've got a disc which is all of the music discs combined. If you put a disc in here, no matter which one it is, if you are close enough to it with your parrots, then those parrots will start dancing to it. And honestly, some people would say this is monstrosity, but I would say it's 16 great music discs combined, so what's not to love? If I'm actually being honest, it just sounds like Pig Step after a certain point. But yeah, if you want to have your parrots dance, then simply play music near them. What they'll also do, which I think is really fun, is they'll mimic mobs near them. So if they hear a zombie nearby, you'll hear a parrot zombie core. It just sounds silly. They'll do it for basically every mob, obviously not including the player. Speaking of not including the player, let's talk about ocelots. So let's talk about axolotls. You know, actually, I'm the player and I'm an ocelot. By the way, if you ever want to get one of these animals off you, just make a 2 or more block full and they'll come off your shoulder just like that. But they will try to get back onto it very quickly, usually. Not this guy, he doesn't like me. Speaking of people who don't like me, axolotls are never truly friends with the player. There are 4 common types of axolotl you'll find in the lush caves. However, one is pink, one one is yellow, one is white, and one is brown. There is a fifth variety, and I swear to God, I'm not, this isn't a mistypo, this isn't a mistake or something. The breeding of an axolotl has a 1 in 1,200 chance of giving you a rare blue axolotl, so you'll really have to work up your numbers if you want to get one of those. But yeah, there are 5 varieties of axolotl, 4 of which are practical to find, and all of which will be vaguely trusting of the player if you have a handy item with you, which is this, or rather, I guess, sorry, if you have a handy item with you, which is this. It looks very similar, but this one has tropical fish in. Axolotls love tropical fish. It's the thing that they breed with, but it's also the way that you keep them around you. If you do keep them around you, they will fight on your behalf, but also if you have a water bucket, you can just scoop them up. It is the only pet which you can put in a bucket, and it's, you know, what's the humaneness on that? I don't know for sure. If you're really into your animal humanity, you might not love this pet, but yeah, they'll follow you around if you have a tropical bucket, or they'll just follow you around if you force them to by making them into a bucket. Your choice, in my opinion. Speaking of your choice, now we move into the most interesting choice, because there are 3 roughly equivalent mobs: the horse, the donkey, and the mule. This is really intriguing to me because I think that this is the most powerful pet you can have in Minecraft. Most of these so far have been like, oh yeah, sometimes if you're in the water, he'll help you against guardians, or sometimes if you know, like, cats really do just sit on your stuff all day and sometimes prevent creepers from being nearby you. So like, most of these pets are like kind of for the aesthetic reasons, but horses, donkeys, and mules are the real backbone of actually getting stuff done. So I'm gonna grab a saddle, and I'm going to show you how to tame a horse, but it is the same for a donkey or a mule, although mules are the crossbreed spawner for donkeys, so you'll only ever find donkeys and horses in the wild, and if you sit on a horse, then eventually he will love you, or he'll buck you off. You'll be able to tell if a horse is tamed or not by opening your inventory. If your regular inventory comes up, it's not a tamed horse. If this inventory comes up, it is a tamed horse, and from there you can put a saddle on. You can also put a saddle on, fun fact, so I'll tame the donkey slightly differently this time. So this is a donkey. He will be tamed by the exact same process, although immediately. You can also put a saddle on by just left-clicking or right-triggering, left-triggering or right-clicking onto the donkey, and boom, he'll hold it. However, a donkey will also hold a chest. So you have we got on the one hand, a donkey here that moves very, very slowly, but can store our stuff, or we've got a horse that moves a lot more quickly and can jump a lot higher, but can store no stuff. So if you wanted to get the best of this world with the best of this world, well, you'd have to breed them together. How do you do that? Well, it's one of the most ridiculous breeding foods in Minecraft, because it has to be golden carrots or golden apples. That's not me making a typo. That's not a weird joke that we're trying to initiate you in with. This is how it actually works. Give them a golden carrot or a golden apple. Either one will work, so really you should be using golden carrots. And then they'll breed together, and if you breed a horse and a donkey, you'll get a mule, which same thing can be done here. Don't recommend using golden carrots for this. It's very, very expensive. But if we breed him all the way up to max, then we'll have a mule who is then sterile, like in real life. Is he still going? He's just eating for fun at this point. He's sterile like in real life, and if you tame him, he will be able to hold a chest and move slightly faster than a donkey. So best of both worlds, you just have to deal with sterility, but you know, really, don't we all have to deal with that at some point? So why not deal with it in Minecraft? Speaking of dealing with things in Minecraft, every single horse, donkey, and mule will travel different speeds, not just to each other, but within the same category. This horse will move at a different speed than that other horse in there, and so if you want to test these speeds, one of my favorite builds in Minecraft is to build a track where you can see precisely that. So yeah, I'll show you right here. By the way, fun fact, if you ever move a horse right next to a piston, some weird stuff happens, and if you ever want to, like, I don't know, steal someone else's horse by trapping them underground, you could do that. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but if I grab another horse that's actually a little bit faster, I can show you something fun. So that horse was fairly good, right? But this horse is the one to have. So I'm gonna have to take a saddle from this mule and apply it to this horse, and I'm gonna show you something wild with regards to his speed. So if we do the exact same thing again, we'll get our lovely timer going. Ooh, no, I didn't want to do that again. Okay, so pro tip, do not put pistons with fences on near horses. For some reason, it drags them underground, which sounds very funny on the surface, but it isn't very funny in reality. I didn't want to do that. You know, I'm going to pretend that both times this was intentional. I am just very good at showing you fun things that you can do in Minecraft. But let's just jump out of here, and let's show you how this works. So one more time here. You can see the basics of how this works. I'm going to run him down the track. I'm going to see how well he can jump. And if he wins successfully, then that's very wonderful. That that we do not talk about the tragedy that just happened here. So now let's go into our inventory. Let's get rid of some of our items, and let's show you what you can do with all horses, donkeys, and mules, and that is obviously guide them with a lead. So this works for most mobs in Minecraft, even works for boats, which aren't a mob in most traditional definitions. If you have a horse and you want him to stay in one place, they won't do that unless you tie them to a fence post, which is kind of cowboy style if you ask me. I like that a lot. But what you might also like a lot is this next thing. So this is the most questionable pet to have in Minecraft because he's genuinely just a little dude. He's a little dude that once you tame him will work for you forever for free. And, you know, like you might have some moral qualms with that. Like I obviously don't. I have a little guy who lives in my basement and works for me for free. For legal reasons, that is a joke. But if you want to have one of these yourself, it's fairly easy. Go to one of the 2 places that they spawn. You can find them in a woodland mansion. I think most people can picture the place. But a lot of people forget that you can also find them in the much more common pillager outpost. They will spawn in up to 3 in one of these little cages. And all you've got to do to tame them is give them an item. You can give them any item you want. So I could give them leads if I wanted to, which is kind of funny if you ask me. So here, this guy has a lead now. And then we'll tame this guy with dark oak fences. And now, every time we drop one of those items on the ground, an Allay will come by to pick it up. So if I drop a bunch of leads, you know, I'm just feeling really lazy, the Allay will go by and hoover those up, and as soon as he gets to me, throw them to me. You can even use a note block if you want to do this extra fun. But yeah, these guys will work for you forever. They have some of the fastest healing rates in Minecraft, and they're just really friendly little people. They breed of them, so, you know, they are a weird addition to Minecraft. They came from a mob vote, but they are a very useful one when you're working on a destruction project. And so, yeah, if you want them to collect anything, use this guy right here. What's not to love? I'm going to give this guy some blue concrete, and then I'm going to tell him, just go over here. This is where you need to be. So yeah, just keep in mind that this is a very, very, very valuable mob, but it is fairly hard to find in the wild compared to basically everything else in this video. Speaking of everything else in this video, llamas are so common in my experience, but they do feel a lot less useful than horses. So here's how you tame a llama. Let's imagine we've got one in the wild. All you've got to do to tame a llama is sit on him. I led him instead. All you have to do is sit on a llama, and wow, eventually he will, like a horse, decide that you have tamed him. If you want to breed some llamas together, they have to be tamed first. So I'll show you with one tamed llama right here. Once he lets me tame him. You know, they put a lot of work in. It makes you seem like you can get something great. Once you've tamed a llama, you might think you can ride him, but nope, there is no saddle slot. There's just carpet to decorate your llama. And so instead, riding the llama is a passive experience. You instead will have to lead them around via leads. And so they're designed to make caravans, I guess, where you put a bunch of chests on each of your animals. Is that very useful? That's for you to decide, or for me to decide on your behalf, like not actually very. And then one last thing is the fact that, yeah, you have to have them be tamed to breed them together. They come in a few different colors. There's even the Wandering Trader exclusive llama. And of all the pets in Minecraft, this one has the most niche appeal, because why would you not use a donkey? The answer is that you have more guaranteed storage on the llama, but it's not even that it's guaranteed better. It's just, it's not even that it's always better. It's just that it's more likely to be better. Speaking of being better, let's talk about the dolphins. So if you have ethical qualms about trapping little people, then this is a time to look away. But if you don't, all you've got to do is go to a lovely body of water, an ocean, and you'll find a dolphin. Look, there's one right now. Doesn't he look so lovely? So this dolphin can never be tamed, but he instead will become friendly with you. Either if you swim nearby him, you'll get the Dolphin's Grace effect. This Dolphin's Grace effect is invisible on Bedrock, but is visible on Java. You'll swim just a little bit faster, which is very nice. Or you can give him some of the foods that we were giving to our cats earlier. Both raw salmon and raw cod are loved by dolphins, and if you give them to them, you can decide that they will decide to point you to the nearest structure of one of these 3 varieties. So if you're looking for underwater structures quite desperately, dolphins are the help, not just on how to get there, but also on getting there with their little boosts. So shipwreck, ocean ruin, treasure chests are all on fair play once you've got this. So yeah, this is what it'll actually look like when you're in the ocean. You're in the ocean, you've got a bunch of stuff, and then they'll point you towards where you need to be, or they'll help you swim around. However, just like you know, like if in real life, I think it's worth mentioning that if we ever got to a situation where you punched a dolphin, you would anger all of the dolphins, which I used to be really upset about. I've done this by accident a lot, and you know, you have to feel like a monster yourself, because let's be honest, if a dolphin ever punched a human being, we would all gang up together to punch that dolphin back, right? We would all do precisely what the dolphins are doing here. And so if you punch a dolphin, just stay away from the water for a while. Don't bother going into the water tomorrow. Some bad things might happen to you. Speaking of bad things, we have just one last last mob to go through today. It's the camel. So the camel is very interesting because he will be spawned naturally in desert villages. In the same way that you can find cats in most villages, you can find camels once per desert village. So I recommend, even if you're not sure that you need a camel right now, at some point in your world, find 2 desert villages and just make sure you breed 2 of these together. You can breed them using cactuses. So fun fact, you can call this cactus as a separate 64 cactus or 64 cacti or 64 cactuses. They're all valid if you want them to be. But if you breed 2 camels together, then you will get a baby camel. And once you've got this done, you can do it wherever you like. I've even done it in my end dimension. But yeah, having camels breed, actually they're not doing a very good job at breeding, are they? Yeah, I'll help you guys out. There we go. And then once you've done with this, you can also then turn the camel into a big one, just like so. Anyway, camels are very interesting because they are a 2-slotted horse, basically. They move a lot slower, but have a lot longer of a jump. They don't jump high, they jump long. And so a good explanation of this would be, look at this here. Imagine this was a bottomless pit that I would fall into and it would be real bad. I can jump straight over it, because the camel does a lovely dash attack. This is something which Minecraft added to try and add more experiences from not necessarily try to add more experiences from around the world, not necessarily centering on just European. And I think that's a fun way to say, yeah, actually, in some parts of the world, they do ride around camels. They're just not necessarily that useful in Minecraft. So to summarize, every animal we've gone through so far, cats and dogs are the closest thing you have to pets. They follow you around with no extra infrastructure. Basically, every other animal, though, you'll need to have some proper enclosure for them. Whether that's water for axolotls and the dolphins, or whether that's tying these guys to some fences, you'll need to make sure that you have some way to keep them stored, or they will walk off. Even if they're friends of you, even if they trust you, even if they're this weird space where they literally work for you, they will walk off and do their own thing. And in the case of the Allay, they'll just annoy you by always being there. So keep that in mind. However, otherwise, this has been every single pet that you can tame, trust, or use as a friend. And if you want to know my personal favorite, it has to be the horse. I find horses to be so immensely useful in the early to mid game, and if you are in the exact same situation, then I think they're the first one to aim for. But if you're just looking for cuteness, let's be honest, axolotls, cats and dogs are your easy spots to go for. And if you find a fox, it's nice to pick them up along the way, but I wouldn't go out of it for it. But if you want to get all of these animals, now you know how to breed them, and now you know how to start your own little Minecraft zoo, if you'd like to. With that said, this has been the first episode of the new Ultimate Guide series. A little bit of a trial we're doing here. I think that so many things have changed in Minecraft since many of us learned the game that it's worth going through and refreshing, but at the same time allowing people who didn't learn about the game 10 years ago to learn about many of the core mechanics. And so if you agree with this mission, if you agree with this goal, then please do consider subscribing if you're new around here, because these are videos that I want to put the time into to make sure we get the research right and the worlds right and everything like that. And so also thank you to This Is Chris for making the world, a brand new person working with the team. It's very exciting. And if you want to see the rest of these, I'll link the playlist down below. Although I guess it will only have one video in because this is a brand new series, which we're on episode 1 of. But tomorrow, next week, we'll be on episode 2. And I look forward to seeing you over there. Goodbye.